All right, so today we are diving deep into the Piña Colada.
Ooh, sounds refreshing.
We've got a great source today, too, from QVC's YouTube channel, a video all about, well, Piña Coladas.
Perfect for this deep dive.
It's not just a recipe either.
Oh, what else?
It goes back to the cocktail's roots, back to the 1850s, Puerto Rico, where all began.
I always love learning about the history of a drink. Adds a whole other dimension to the experience.
And get this, the video shows us two different ways to make it.
Oh, so we get options.
Definitely. But first, we've got to talk about the ingredients.
The foundation of any good cocktail.
Exactly. And this video really emphasizes using the right ingredients. Each one has a specific role to play in the final flavor.
Makes sense. No cutting corners if you want the perfect piña colada.
They even wrote that song, I don't like getting caught in the rain, but I do love piña coladas.
Classic. I mean, who doesn't love a good piña colada?
So what are the key ingredients here? What makes a piña colada a piña colada?
All right, so the video focuses on four main components: rum, cream of coconut, pineapple juice, and ice.
Okay, let's start with the rum. Any specific type that works best?
You've got a few options here. White rum, golden rum, even spiced rum could work in a pinch.
So we've got choices.
We do, but the video recommends sticking with white rum for this particular recipe.
Why white rum?
Well, white rum is sort of like a blank canvas. It lets those tropical flavors, the coconut and pineapple, really shine through.
Ah, so you don't want the rum overpowering everything else.
Exactly. Next up is the cream of coconut, and I think this is where some people might get a little confused.
I can see that. Cream of coconut, coconut cream, coconut milk. They all sound so similar.
Right, so let's break it down. Coconut cream is that thick, rich layer that settles on top of coconut milk, especially if you've chilled the can.
Okay, so that's coconut cream. What about cream of coconut?
Well, cream of coconut is basically sweetened coconut cream. It's usually found in the baking aisle or near the cocktail mixers at the grocery store.
So it already has that extra sweetness built in. Perfect for cocktails.
Exactly. And the video also gives a great tip. Give that can of cream of coconut a good shake before you use it.
Makes sense. You want to make sure that cream and sweetener are perfectly blended.
Right, consistent flavor in every sip. Now onto the pineapple juice.
I'm guessing fresh is always best.
You know, the video doesn't actually specify fresh or bottled. The key is choosing a pineapple juice that you genuinely enjoy drinking.
That makes sense. After all, you don't want to be stuck with leftover juice you can't stand.
Plus, that pineapple juice is a major player in the flavor profile. You want something delicious.
And last but not least, we've got the ice. Seems pretty straightforward, but is there anything we need to know about the ice?
You'd be surprised how important the ice is. It's not just about chilling the drink. It plays a crucial role in blending the ingredients together and creating the right consistency.
Whether you're shaking or blending, the ice matters.
It really does. And speaking of shaking and blending, the video actually shows us two different methods for making a piña colada.
Two methods. That's what I'm talking about. So let's start with the shaken method. What's the process like?
All right, so they use a cocktail shaker, and the recipe follows a specific ratio. 2 parts rum, 3 parts cream of coconut, and 4 parts pineapple juice.
So there's a precise formula here. It's not just throwing things together haphazardly.
Not at all. They used 2 ounces of rum, 3 ounces of cream of coconut, and 4 ounces of pineapple juice for their demonstration. And here's the interesting part. They add the ice last.
Last. Why not add it first so it chills the drink as you mix?
That's a great question. Adding it last is all about control. You're creating that perfect blend of rum, coconut, and pineapple first. The ice goes in at the very end to chill it down and slightly dilute it as you shake.
Makes sense. Control the dilution, get that perfect balance.
Exactly. And they recommend shaking vigorously for at least 30 seconds.
Okay, shaking vigorously for 30 seconds. Got it. What's next?
Once you've shaken it to perfection, you pour the mixture into a classic piña colada glass.
That tall glass with the slight curve. And of course, we can't forget about the garnish.
Absolutely. They suggest a piece of pineapple with the peel still on, a maraschino cherry for a pop of color, and of course, that tiny umbrella.
The finishing touch. It's like a mini vacation right in your glass. All right, now let's move on to the other method. Blending. This is how we get that frosty, frozen piña colada, right?
You got it. For this method, they use a blender, but they stick with that same 2.3.4 ratio for the rum, cream of coconut, and pineapple juice.
So the ingredients stay the same, just a different technique.
Exactly. As for the ice, for this version, you'll add 2 cups of ice per piña colada. So if you're making a double batch, you'd use 4 cups.
Double batch. Sounds dangerous, but delicious. Any other tips for the blended version?
They suggest swapping out some of that ice with frozen pineapple chunks.
Now that's smart. Why do that?
It helps maintain the drink's coolness without watering it down too much, keeps it perfectly frozen without sacrificing the flavor.
Genius. So we blend it all up, and what do we get?
You get a smooth, icy, blended piña colada, ready to transport you straight to a tropical island. And just like with the shaken version, you can garnish with the pineapple, cherry, and that iconic umbrella.
2 methods, same delicious result. But now I'm wondering, why would someone choose shaken over blended, or vice versa? Is it all just personal preference, or is there more to it than that?
It's easy to just say, well, do you like it smooth or icy? But I think there's something deeper going on. Each method brings its own unique strengths to the table.
Let's break it down then, starting with shaking. What are some of the advantages there?
One thing that really stands out about the shaken method is the control you have over dilution. Because you're adding the ice last and shaking for that precise amount of time, you can really fine-tune the texture and the flavor.
I get a more hands-on approach. You're not just relying on the blender to do all the work.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like a little bit of cocktail craftsmanship coming into play. And that shaking action also creates this really nice, subtle frothiness that you don't get with blending.
Okay, so shaking gives you more control, a bit of froth.
Yeah.
What about blended? What are the benefits there?
Well, the blended piña colada is all about that iconic frozen texture, that slushy consistency that's so perfect on a hot day. It's undeniably refreshing.
And it's fun, too. You get the blender going. It's almost like a party in itself. Plus, didn't you mention you could get a bit more creative with the blended version?
That's right. The blended method allows for a lot more customization. We talked about those frozen pineapple chunks, but you could also throw in a splash of coconut milk for extra creaminess, maybe even try layering different flavors.
Yeah.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
So it sounds like we've got a real showdown brewing here. Team shaken versus team blended. Which one comes out on top?
Honestly, I think it all boils down to what you're looking for in your piña colada experience. Do you want that controlled, subtly frothy drink with a very specific, carefully crafted texture? Shaken is probably the way to go. Or are you after that icy, slushy, super customizable experience that you can only get from a blender?
Now, I've got another question for you. We've been talking about the how-to, the techniques, but it makes me wonder if there's also a historical angle to this whole shaken versus blended debate. The piña colada has its roots in the tropical climate of Puerto Rico.
I see where you're going with this.
Could that environment, that sense of place, have actually played a role in whether people preferred a refreshing shaken piña colada or a frosty blended one?
That is a brilliant observation. Think about it. You're on a beach in Puerto Rico, feeling that warm breeze, the sun on your skin.
Yeah.
What kind of piña colada would you reach for? A cool, crisp, shaken one to quench your thirst, or a frosty blended one to really combat that heat?
It really makes you appreciate how even a simple cocktail can be tied to cultural and historical influences that shape our preferences in ways we might not even realize.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I find so fascinating about these deep dives. We're not just learning how to make a drink, we're exploring the nuances, the techniques, the historical context. It just adds so much depth to the whole experience.
It goes way beyond just the recipe, and honestly, it makes that final sip of the piña colada all the more enjoyable. And throughout this exploration, I think we've discovered one very important truth.
What's that?
There's no wrong way to enjoy a piña colada. Shaken or blended, pineapple wedge or cherry on top. The most important thing is that you're savoring the experience, enjoying the moment. Speaking of enjoying a piña colada, I gotta say, I'm kind of partial to the blended version myself.
Yeah.
That icy, smooth texture, it just gets me every time. What about you? Any preferences?
Honestly, while I really appreciate the precision and the craftsmanship of a well-shaken piña colada, there's just something about that frosty blended version, especially on a hot day, that I just can't resist.
I feel that. I think what's been really cool about this deep dive is that it's taken us beyond just the recipe,
Absolutely.
We've discovered that the piña colada is more than just a tasty drink. It's got a story, a history, a real connection to a specific place and time.
It's true. We've talked about the ingredients, we've debated shaking versus blending, and we've even considered how the piña colada's origins, in tropical Puerto Rico, might have shaped those choices.
Right, and I think that's what makes this whole experience so rewarding. We've come away with a whole new appreciation for the piña colada.
For sure, and it's a good reminder that there's always more to learn and discover, even about things we think we already know.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So to all our listeners out there, Next time you find yourself with a Piña Colada in hand, take a moment to really savor it.
Yeah.
Think about its journey, its history, the hands that crafted it, all the way from those sunny shores of Puerto Rico to your glass.
And remember, there's no right or wrong way to enjoy a piña colada. Shaken, blended, pineapple wedge, cherry on top. It's all about finding what you like and enjoying the experience.
Cheers to that. And cheers to the Piña Colada, a drink that's as complex and fascinating as it is delicious.